Hello and welcome to the channel. I hope you're all well and doing plenty of fishing. Now we're going to tie a nymph today, and it is a Czech nymph but tied in a style that maybe you're not accustomed to. In the vise I have a size 14 nymph hook and a 3.3 silver bead. Now this is going to be the Jadowska nymph, although I doubt if that is actually how it's pronounced in its native land. It's been around in Spain, I should think probably 10 years at least, and it has become quite popular on the competition circuit, especially fishing it first thing in the morning. So I'm just setting this bead. Trim up the excess. I'm using 80 black thread, by the way. There. The tail of the fly is going to be Coquelicot, medium pardo, and it's a reasonable tail, 4 or 5 fibres, and I'm going to tie that in. Now this tail will be possibly a little bit longer than you are accustomed to on your nymphs, but that is how it's tied, and trim off the excess. Right, this does have a rib, and I'm using a UV lilac tinsel, and I'll just tie that in. Put that to length, and it also has a butt, a red butt, and I'm using red holographic. So just get a piece, and tie that in. Wind down to the rear of the fly and trim off the excess tinsels. And I'll bind them down. And back down to the rear of the fly. Now, this is where it gets a little bit tricky, because the red butt has a couple of turns underneath the tail of the fly. So I'll put in, lift up the tail, struggling here. That's it. 1, 2, and tie on the red butt. Now it's quite a reasonable butt. It goes up quite a long way up the rear of the fly. And tie off the holographic and trim it up. Right, now for the body of the fly, I'm going to use black body quill. Cut a length off of that, and I'm going to wind this on double, so I'll just put it underneath the thread, try and get it equal length, and wind it on to the body of the fly. and tie it off at the thorax. And trim it up. Right, now I'm going to wind on the rib, and this actually goes over the red butt also, up the body, to the thorax area, and tie it off. Trim up the excess, tidy up. Right, now for the collar, I'm going to use some Spectra dubbing, and this is a peacock dubbing, and it is number 420. It's not a particularly big collar, so you won't need a lot of dubbing. Try and keep it as fine as you can. If you have any longer fibres, you can always trim those up afterwards. Try and keep it tight. And before I tie it off, I'm going to just put some glue on the thread and tie off with a whip finishing tool. And trim up the tying thread. Just have a look to see if there's any extra long fibres. I see one there. And there you have the nymph complete. As I said, it's become very popular first thing in the morning. It's become a bit of an attractor nymph, I think. The name Jadoska, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, is from the Slovak language, and it means somewhere to eat. So I think this nymph is perfectly named for the trout. So it's a Czech nymph, but not as you know it. I hope you enjoyed the tying, and don't hesitate to share it and give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.